Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead. A bit of a kind of give and take week this week. Not entirely clear. I laid down the cards and thought, I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to tell me this week. And that's not about me not being able to interpret them. I've looked at these cards a million times before. But that's very much the energies of the week ahead. Some things will be really clear. Some things may not be so clear. Don't be surprised if you're feeling somewhat in limbo this week or feeling somewhat of, okay, I think this is what I'm meant to be doing, but I'm not sure. This isn't by any means a bad week. What's great is in the middle of your reading, you have the Sun card, which talks about joy, optimism, revelations, excitement, all of those things. It's a card that's been showing itself a lot this week in other star signs, so that's really, really nice to see, particularly as we're around Blue Monday, supposedly the most oppressive day of the year. So it's nice to see that in most parts you'll circumnavigate this feeling. There will be some internal understanding resolutions going on, which is really nice to see. Those things that you've perhaps been at a slight impasse, crossroads, not quite being able to resolve it internally, and they may be as grand as I'm not sure what I want, I'm not sure what I need, or it may be just on a kind of low-key level of, I'm not sure what I think about that, or I'm not sure what I feel about that. And things that you've perhaps been musing on for a little while, then becoming clear. So that's really, really positive to see. I say that in large because you have the Hermit card in combination with the Sun card, and we have the Hermit with the Lantern, and then the Sun obviously being the brightest illuminator in our solar system. There being feelings of enlightenment, and I perhaps not so much in the grand way of being able to see the true nature of reality, but more in terms of, okay, I get it now. I can understand that now. And this is why I said that these internal resolutions are likely to occur, particularly in combination that we've got the Eight of Swords, the Lord of Short and Force. It's interesting because sometimes this can be seen as a quote-unquote bad card. It can often be described as being in a bit of a mental prison. And there is a little bit of a consideration, particularly being Virgo. There can sometimes be there's being analytical, which is great. That's really called for this week. But then sometimes we can overanalyze and pick things apart and be too meticulous or a perfectionist. So guard against that. But it was interesting when I turned over the Eight of Swords, because even though it's quote unquote a bad card, there are no good and bad cards in the tarot. Really, it's all in context. When I turned this over, I looked at it and thought, oh no, this is actually a good thing, because of those reasons that I spoke about at the beginning, in terms of those things that have perhaps been you've not quite known the way to resolve them, to overcome them. That feeling as though it's lifting this week. It's really, really nice to see. And that may come about spontaneously. It may also come, there's that image that comes to mind of sometimes we assume that those little drops of water don't make any difference, it won't fill the reservoir, or but actually it's that final drop that makes the dam break, because of all of those drops that have happened before. So it's all the accumulative effort and the accumulative reflection and pensiveness that has been happening up until this point. It's nice to see. It's almost like this kind of dam of revelation being broken open for you. So don't be surprised if you're entering in the week being a little bit unclear and unsure, but leaving the week with much more of a sense of certainty. There's also a bit of a push and pull here between the internal world and the external world. For star signs like Aries, so if your rising sign and your moon sign and sun sign are in Aries and in Sagittarius, that would be quite an interesting kind of combination, because that was a lot about feeling slightly held back or not rushing into things. Then there's the other star signs to call to mind, I think Sagittarius maybe, and Leo. There was this feeling of forward movement, of excitement, getting things done, Taurus as well. and you will be somewhere slightly in the middle of those two energies. So it's a bit conflicted in terms of, well, do I focus on the external world? Do I start getting things done? Do I start rolling up my sleeves? Do I, yeah, as I say, make things happen? Or do I embrace this place of quietude, this place of inner reflection, meditation, and deeper internal understanding? And it's not quite clear which way that's meant to go. I don't feel that there's necessarily a right and wrong with that. It's just, I suppose, the only person that can really answer that is you. So just take some time to reflect and think, actually, do I need a little bit more time? Do I need a little bit more in introspection? Do I need a bit more quietude? Or actually, am I ready to kind of dust myself off and then roll up my sleeves and get stuck in? Finally, we have the Ten of Wands, the Lord of Oppression. Similar, really, with the Eight of Swords. Very much kind of barriers, very much around impasses. This might therefore be exacerbating that sense and that feeling of wanting to move forward, and being filled with this enthusiasm and excitement as expressed with the Queen of Wands and the Sun card of this, right, can't wait, I'm gonna, and filled with optimism, filled with hope, filled with this dynamic energy. But it's almost as soon as you start, you hit the roadblocks. It's like the rain may fall on the best laid plans. Again, don't necessarily take that to heart. I don't think it's indicative of the energies rolling out forever, or certainly over the next coming weeks by any means. So if sometimes we think, oh, great, I'm gonna, a silly example, but I'm gonna go for a walk tomorrow, and we plan the walk in our head, and I'm going to stop off at that cafe. I love that cafe, and we're going to take that route. And then you wake up in the morning and it's raining. And sometimes we can feel a bit crestfallen and a bit disheartened. There may be instances where that's coming up this week, but it's really small fry. It's not necessarily. Don't read too much into it. That, oh, am I not meant to be doing this then? Because that's where perhaps some of this over analyzing starts to play in. But as I say, the fact that we've got the Sun card will show, I really get the sense that you'll be leaving the week feeling more unfettered, more unhindered than you perhaps going in, and particularly when it comes to a deeper understanding, or being able to see a way out, or acknowledging something that up until this point has been missed. So feels great on the whole. If you want to know more, be sure to go and check out your rising sign and moon sign for a more in-depth reading. But until next time, I shall see you then, and have a wonderful week. Bye for now.